Hello and welcome back to The Lab, a Minecraft podcast where we explore, experiment, and theorize about all things Minecraft. I am MinerThoughts, and with me is the man with the feedback. Got it wrong again. It's the feedback, The1Troj.
Always the feedback. Hello, Miner. How we doing? Welcome to another end of month feedback episode, if people didn't guess already.
Yes, it's the feedback episode. I want to make a song, but it's... I won't torture you.
On behalf of myself and all the listeners of The Lab, we thank you.
Yeah, I am not a singer.
Well, speaking of feedback, we didn't get a whole lot this month. What we did get is really interesting topics to talk about. And we're actually going to go it wasn't so much feedback as such, but you will recall if you've been a long time listener or you listen, we put out there again about our ideas, our own, and some of the interesting bits and pieces. And we actually had a reach out from Razeworks, who's quite a large channel on YouTube with all redstone tutorials and relatively well known. And he was trying to get a hold of me. I thought, well, this is interesting. And I promised him I'll read his message out, and then we're going to have a little bit of a dissection. So he says, "Hey, I just got done listening to your podcast. During it, you described your squid ink farm. As soon as I heard you mention using squid that naturally die for an ink farm, I wondered if you used my ocean monument ink farm concept. And after looking into it, it seems you did use that exact same concept." And then he goes and links me a couple of videos. So the first video that he linked me is a quick squid and kelp farm. And that video, I watched it, and it is a flying machine farm that collects kelp and ink sacs from the top of ocean monuments. Now, the irony is, for those that may not have just coming in late, my ink farm was basically just setting up a hopper collection system using a lay to pick up the ink sacs of the squid that were taken out by guardians. So I couldn't really see from that video what he was getting at, other than squid naturally die in that way. So I was like, okay. And the irony is, if I actually had have seen that video when I was trying to be lazy in Vault Hunters, I probably would have made that farm, because it's really simple and it uses flying machines that have been around since the dawn of man, or the dawn of Minecraft. Well, since the dawn of slime blocks anyway, and the bits needed. Anyway, you get my point. So anyway, then he linked me to a second video, which is a generic video on allays. And there's like a 10-20 second clip in that video that he so kindly timestamped for me, where he says he's in this flying machine farm, and he makes the one comment of, you could use a lay to pick up the drops. Now, right. I don't quite agree that I've used his exact idea, other than a lay can pick stuff up.
Right.
And I did reply to him basically saying, and I'll read my reply. "Hi there. Yeah, nice to hear from you. I mean, there's a bit of a difference between a solitary line in a generic video about a lay and then actually designing a farm and a system, etc. Technically, someone that originally came up with flying machines could say you used their exact idea for your farm." And then I said, "Sort of wished I'd seen your flying machine based one, though, at the time, as I've likely gone that way for Vault Hunters. I don't generally watch or use your farms, as I like to go the smallest and less technical route. Do appreciate you reaching out." So yeah, to me, it's not really the same thing.
Right.
If someone says something doesn't mean that is, I've pinched an exact concept. And I think my point is valid there, that, whoever came up with flying machines first could turn around using the same logic and say, well, you're using my exact idea in your farm. And It was very interesting to see that Razeworks actually didn't bother replying to me after that. So read into that what you will. I know he has a bit of an interesting reputation over on the technical community in Twitterverse as well. So I just thought it was an interesting interaction. Thank you for reaching out. If you want to discuss it more, just need to reply. I'd be happy to discuss more. But I don't see it as being exactly the same thing, because it's a flying machine farm.
Right. And I'll give my thoughts, my minor thoughts. When you told me about this, and he reached out to me, or maybe it was, I saw it in the comments that he trying to reach Troj. I'm trying to reach Troj.
Mind you, he put that everywhere, man. He put a comment on my videos, on my channel, on the DTG Family Gaming channel. He joined the Mothball DTG Family Gaming channel Discord. He was keen as mustard to talk to me. I was saying, what is this about? This is a bit exciting. And then I saw what came through. I was like,
right.
Interesting. Okay.
Well, at first I thought, hey, maybe Ray wants to do a podcast interview. But here's how I feel about it. I said in the past, or you've said in the past, that what Etho and Cubfan did was not, they may have seen it in passing. It's not the same exact thing, that it is the same concept, but it's not, a block by block thing.
Yeah. Hang on. Let me jump in for 1 sec. I'm going to reiterate again for the 13,000th time. I am not saying that my problem was, I'm not saying they stole the idea or stole the concept. My point more was, and I think everyone is, or so many people are completely missing the point of what my point was, which is my fault for not conveying it properly. And I apologize. What I'm saying is you can have two independent people years apart have very similar ideas. Mm-hmm. As a small creator, it sucks because people think the big one's the first one to come out with it or the first person to think of it. I'm not saying the idea was pinched. It's like, it can be hard. I'm still not conveying this right. It can be hard as a small content creator to crack into it because you don't have the algorithm pushing it to be seen by that many people, if that makes sense. Whereas the bigger ones can come up with the same idea independently and get more traction with it because they're bigger. That was more my point. Sorry, please continue.
Okay, but on that same note, the claims that were being made by RaiseWorks were kind of that same thing. He was claiming that was his concept based on a, like you said, just a passing thing. And it was not. His farm and your farm are two different things. If it were a copy, if credit should have been given, it would have been Ray would have done the same exact thing, a block by block. And yeah, he would have been the first, but it was not the same thing. It started out as a kelp farm, if I'm correct.
It does. It is a squid and kelp farm, but
right, that scooped up squid, ink, and kelp by the use of fly machines, and then on a lay showcase on how you can use the lays. And I watched the videos that he had linked based on a lay video. He said, hey, this farm that I built at such and such a time, you can use allays on that. But it was, it didn't show you how. And yours was a full tutorial on how to do this. And it's a quick build. And you did have people that did try to copy it and claim it as their own from being a block by block build.
Yeah, there were the small content, other smaller ones than me that took it and use it. But that's YouTube. That happens. Unfortunately, that is the world in which we live. So be it. That's okay. And yes, some of the points made around all this was oh, you're not the first person to come up with allay pickup systems. Well, of course I'm not, because allays were designed to pick things up. That's their function. That is their mechanic, obviously. Now, if I, at the time when I was looking for this, for an easy way to get a bulk amount of black ink sacs, if I had found something viable or like this, I wouldn't have bothered to sit down and make it. I just would have got it, went, all right, this is what I need for that server, for Vault Hunters, be into it. But I didn't, and that's why it came out. There are other videos showing similar pickup methods. Yeah, that's fine, 100%. But again, we're missing the point of what I was trying to convey, and I apologize for not conveying it right. But as far as this comment there from Ray's-Works, like, I'm not trying to disrespect the guy. I think it's a really long bow to draw to say you're putting those two videos together and you're putting a 5-second clip of a line from a lay showcase and say what I did was the exact same concept. That's a long bow to draw.
Right. But at the same time, it's a stretch. It's a stretch to say, this is my idea. Please give me credit.
Look, he's not actually saying give me credit. It's my feeling that's what he wanted and he wants on the video is a idea by Ray's-Works, which I'm not doing because I don't think it's the same thing. Look, yeah, he made, yes, 100% he said you could use a lay to pick this up. But as you said, didn't show how. It's a different thing. And look, and frankly, on this topic, it's the last time that I'll be addressing it or mentioning it on the podcast or in a video or whatever. It is what it is. If I didn't get my point across in the original podcast, I apologize. Even my dog, if you can hear it, is starting to agree with me here. So I won't be addressing it anymore. The topic is done and dusted for me.
There's some topics that we just we'll discuss them and maybe discuss a little feedback, and then we're just going to move on.
Yeah,
we're talking to you. We're talking to you, bearded bard. Anyway,
the next bit of feedback we got was from Thomas, and it was on our last feedback frenzy, and it was we were talking there. This is sort of an on-flow from this whole squid farm thing, and how my channel was getting negative comments, and as was the Minecraft Lab podcast was getting, shall we say, overzealous etho fans coming through and making comments. Negative comments on both of the channels. Now, Thomas says, I am very sensitive. The idea of negative comments is kind of scary. Even though I do content for fun, I also do it to bring joy to others. And negative comments are a sign that I have failed in that. There's a couple of things I want to address with this one. No, it's not a sign that you have failed because you can't control trolls. And unfortunately, we are in a society and we are in a platform that promotes anonymity. So a negative comment shouldn't be one that you take to heart or let it take to heart. And it's definitely not a sign that you've failed at all. It's just some people are douchebags. There's no nice way to say that. And they'll just fire it off. And this is a good point is people, and we did say this in the podcast, is people need to remember you don't know what people are doing and going through behind the scenes. And people like Thomas here is very sensitive, and negative comments could impact that person, him in a negative way. So before you're firing off a trolley message safe behind a keyboard and a screen, think what impact it could be having to the person. You don't know what they're going through. You have no idea what they're going through in real life. So if you've got nothing nice to say, probably don't say it.
At the time of recording, this is something that we're going to discuss further.
Yeah, we'll talk more about it. Yeah.
Spoilers.
At time of recording, we've actually recorded that episode, so we know what we're talking about. But yeah, it is something that needs to be spoken about, and positivity maybe in the thing. But yeah, Thomas, don't, if you do ever get negative comments, don't feel that it's a sign of your failure. It's not, because you cannot control people and things like that. And it's just unfortunately, it's the nature of the beast.
Yeah. There's toxic people everywhere. You just have to learn how to shut those out and concentrate on the positive. There are tools you can use in these different things to weed out those comments and whatnot. And we had to shut the comments off on that podcast episode. So, it is what it is.
That's all right. And it is what it is. But moving on. Another one from Thomas, but this time we're talking, it was from our episode about Mojang's celebration and the Bedrock controversy. Modders don't make much, if anything, but they keep the game development fresh and spark tons of interest in the game. 100%. Into Realms, in the month of June, we've been playing Uncharted Expeditions by Generic B. Generic B's actually popped into all of our streams and had a chat, got to know some of us, watched us play it, which I thought was really cool and really good of him. And we've had a great time with it. And you're right. If you want to play something and you want something fresh, there's a mod for that. Let's hope that modding community stays strong.
Yeah, when you told me about this, and I am not a modded Minecraft player, and I okay, I'm being honest now. I just haven't had the time to actually play even vanilla Minecraft lately. But it does look interesting, and Generic B's done a real good job with it. I might give it a shot. And he's adding stuff here and there. And I think it's really cool that he's engaging with the community to see the reaction and see how they like it. Pretty cool.
Yeah, it was good to see him pop into the chat on Twitch there, which was amazing.
Generic, hey, if you want to be on the podcast,
I've asked. I asked him. Unfortunately, no. But I did ask. I took the opportunity. But we'd only want to talk about the Uncharted Expeditions. That's all we'd want to talk about, nothing else. But anyway, all good. The last lot of feedback was about perfection versus creativity, the dilemma of a content creator, and it seemed to get a lot of comments, a lot of traction actually. And we first started talking about it in the feedback frenzy, and then we did a whole episode on it. And the first one was from Devara, our friend Devara. This was awesome, and I think I'll have to type up my thoughts on how pursuing perfection can both help and hinder in various ways in creative endeavors. So look forward to that, because it's not going to fit here. That was put on the YouTube channel. And if you've listened in the past, you know Devara, when she leaves a comment, it's extensive. Now, to date, I have not seen the thesis from Devara, but Devara, please send it through. I would love to read it. Jurassic's first comment on this is, perfection in content creation is something to be careful of. Perfection is impossible to achieve as it's so subjective. What I have found to be the biggest problem in content creation is spending too much time getting things perfect. That extra time, effort, and money doesn't necessarily translate directly to more views, engagement, etc. In my opinion, that time can be better spent. And I fully agree with all of that. And I think I made the comment in the actual episode on the topic was, my straight line videos, which have less editing time, will oftentimes get more views than what an Interrealms video will, where I spend hours upon hours polishing it. And yeah, it is what it is, 100%. And you can very easily get bogged down in that perfection thing and not end up actually making content or getting that stressed out about it, because you end up feel like you're behind.
Yeah, I am. And kind of expand on that, I have just a little bit of honesty here. I have a thing that I'm trying to get off the ground, an Interrealms tabletop role-playing podcast. And we played the first session, and it went great, and I got it all edited, but I set the bar so high for myself. I put so much into it. I'm looking at all these other recordings that we've done, all these other sessions and they're just piling up, and I'm like, oh, I want the rest of them to be just as good. What do I do? And I took a long time to get that first episode, that first session just right. And there's still things that I wasn't totally happy with. I mean, it's something I still want to do. But sometimes you get yourself in that trap where you've already set the bar so high for yourself, and then you get stressed out trying to keep that bar up there, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. And it can be trapful. Is that a word? It's going to be a word.
Trapful.
Trapful.
Okay.
Full of trap. I take your point. But Jurassics wasn't finished with this topic. On the actual episode itself, he put, in a certain way, I think we overthink a lot as small creators. I almost set myself a week to record and make a video and have a set date for release. That way it minimizes the time spent on videos, but also doesn't become a huge time sink of perfection. And that's definitely a strategy to use. And I think some people might, if they set themselves a strict a deadline for a video, they might actually get stressed by that. So I guess individuals, how they react to it. But it was nice to see that is a topic that actually got a little bit of debate around, which was really nice to see. And it was good to get the thoughts of some other small content creators on it, because, we all experience it and we all go through it.
But it's made me think about the way I think. Because, not only do I like to have things perfect, sometimes there are a lot of times that I procrastinate. And it's got me wondering how to change those things, how to be, like Jurassics, set deadlines, keep them, and have a different mindset. I'm now trying to look at different strategies, trying to understand myself more so I can maybe get the things done that I need, that I want to get done.
Yeah.
As far as content creation.
Well, perhaps the answer to all of this can be summed up by our friend I Love MC120. All I need is to have fun making the video. I do not care if I don't get a lot of likes or feedback. All I need to know is that I created something someone in the world will enjoy. And I think that is probably the perfect way to look at it, because 95% of people won't crack it as a full-time content creator. They'll never get to that level. So as the fun, the hobby that it should be. And that's probably very wise words and the way it probably should be.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. So a bit of a shorter feedback episode this week or this month. But little deeper subjects, and maybe a little bit of drama as well. So we'd like to hear from you guys on every episode. You're doing great with the feedback. Leaving the comments down here in the YouTube comment section. Sending in emails. If you've got a longer thing to say, you don't have to say it in the YouTube comment section. But I mean, it helps for engagement. So Devar, if you want, that's fine. But you can reach us also through the email at minecraftlabpodcast@gmail.com, or connect with us over on the socials. I think the main one is mclab_podcast. That's where you can find us on Twitter or X if you wish. And there's always the Discord if you want to talk to us live and in person. And give us some feedback. We've had several different people come over and talk to us, and even in streams, even in your streams, Troj, Dab Play, and others have popped in and said hi. Yeah. Or others that said, hey, the podcast brought me here.
Yeah, and if you do want to check us out on Twitch, I am The1Troj, THE1TROJ, over on Twitch. We'd love to see some of you there. And Miner is, your channel is?
Miner Thoughts.
Amazing. Very original.
Simple enough.
Simple enough. I'm going to be simple and probably head off into the great Saturday that it is right now at time of recording. And go and grab myself some lunch.
And I'm going to go to bed and dream of explosions of TNT.
You enjoy that, sir. You enjoy that.
I will.
All right,
Good night.
Catch you all next week.
You put me on the spot for wood.
I hear that's a common problem these days.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of wood. I've got no wood.
Only we can medically
Okay.
approve that these days.
Too tired for wood.
I got a headache.
Sorry. I hope you're not recording that.
Not at all, Miner. Would I possibly be doing that?